Yes. Nice. Right. I know that some of us have had a super stressful day. So this is all about relaxing and calming tonight. So if you're comfortable lying on your back, just come down to that rested position. If that isn't overly comfortable, Katie, I don't know how okay you are with lying on your back, but staying seated is certainly an option if you would rather. So we'll come and find a rested, comfortable position. And let's just bring it close to the eyes. And just feeling the body land into the mat. And just relaxing down. And just bringing the focus inwards, and any aches or pains or discomfort, as always, just move gently through the class, listening to those signals from your body, coming back to an easier shape for you if things feel at all painful. And as we lie, let's just take the focus to the breath. And we're just gently breathing in and out through the nose. And as you're aware of this, inhale and exhale, just begin to take the breath a bit deeper so that the tummy starts to rise with the inhale and then fall with the exhale. We're taking the breath nice and deep into the body. And then on the next inhale, we're going to count to 4. We're going to hold for a moment and then exhale and count to 4 and hold for a moment in our equal breathing. So as we inhale, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. And then as you exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for the next few moments, just keep that equal breathing going, just counting in your mind, inhaling for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 4. And let's make this the last one. And then just take your breath back to a normal pattern. And as you do that, bring the soles of your feet towards the mat, knees up towards the ceiling, arms out to the side, about shoulder height, palms facing up if that feels comfortable. And just let's pause here for a moment and just feel the weight of the shoulders and the arms into the ground. And then with the feet hip distance apart, let's on the next inhale allow both knees to fall over to the right. And as you exhale, bring them back up to center. And then inhaling the knees down to the left. And exhaling back up to the center. Inhaling down to the right. And exhaling back up. Inhaling down to the left. Exhaling back up, and you're welcome just to keep this movement going if that feels good. Or on our next go down to the right, we're going to hold. And then take your gaze down towards the left hand, and maybe you want to lift your right foot and hook it over the left knee just to encourage that twist a bit more. Let's take a moment here, still gently breathing in and out through the nose. If that foot is hooked, let's unhook and bring the knees back up to center. And then we're going to go to the other side. So both knees fall down towards the left. Left foot hooks over the right knee if that feels comfortable. And maybe gaze goes down towards the right hand. And we'll just spend one more moment here. And if that foot is hooked, let's unhook. We're going to bring both hands down to the side. So our hands are next to our hips, palms facing down. And we're going to tuck our tailbone under and keep the movement going up into our bridge pose. Hold for a second. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to just roll down through the spine, land on the mat and relax, feeling that natural curve come under the lower back. Let's tuck the hips under, press the lower back into the floor and pushing up into our bridge pose. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, let's roll down back through the spine and gently landing on the mat. And you can keep that movement going. Let's go again. We're going to come up. If it feels too much staying up, you can always come back down, or you can stay up for a moment. And if you're staying up, let's lift our hands above the head, over onto the mat behind. And let's lift the hands and arms back up, back down to the side, and then lower the hips back down, land and relax onto the mat. And we're going to do that one more time. So pressing the hips up towards the ceiling, feet pressing into the floor. Stay here if that's comfortable. Hands come up and overhead. And then bring the hands back down towards the side. Hands land and then roll vertebrae by vertebrae back down through the spine. And then let's just take a moment to bring the knees in towards the chest. Gentle rock from side to side. And then in a comfortable, safe way, we're going to come up to seated. And we're going to meet on the mat in easy pose. So a seated position, you can always sit, sit on a cushion or a rolled up blanket if it makes it more comfortable having your hips up, a little bit higher up. So finding a comfortable position that feels easy for you. And we are going to sweep our hands out to the side, up above our head. Going to land the right hand into the mat and come into a lovely side bend. Try to make sure that that top shoulder isn't kind of collapsing forward. So bring the top shoulder, that left shoulder back, maybe taking the gaze underneath the arm. 2 sit bones on the floor so we're not tipping over. I just feel that space open through the left side of the body, pushing the left fingers away from that left hip. And then let's float the left hand down, land the left hand behind, bring the right hand to the opposite knee. And let's come into a gentle twist. Using the hand behind, the left hand to push you up nice and straight, and the right hand to encourage that twist. And let's unravel and unwind and come back to the front. And then let's float both hands back up. And this time we land the left hand into the mat. And we come over to the left side. And again, make sure that top shoulder isn't kind of hunching forward. So opening through that top shoulder, maybe gaze comes underneath the arm, shoulders away from ears. And just coming into this lovely side stretch. We don't move our spine in this way often, so medicine for the back. Gently breathing in and out through the nose. Just make sure that breath is still flowing as you open up that space in the right side of the body. And then let's float the right hand back up. We're going to land the right hand behind, left hand comes onto opposite knee, gaze over the right shoulder, use that right hand to push you up nice and straight, and the left hand to just encourage a twist into that spine. One more moment. And then let's unravel and unwind, and we're going to shimmy ourselves round. So we're in a seated position with our legs out straight. Going to bring our right foot in towards that right thigh and just bend. If you can actually see, maybe I should go that way around. Just going to bend our right leg in. You can pop a cushion underneath that knee if that is a little bit uncomfy, and it doesn't have to be bent loads. Nice straight position in the back, and we're going to just walk the hands forwards and come into a forward fold. If you want to pop your strap around your foot, if you've got your strap, you don't need it there, you don't need it at all. But because I just remember I haven't given one to Joe upstairs, so you don't need your strap, but you can just walk your hands forwards. If you want to use a strap, you're welcome to. I'm just going to come into this lovely forward fold. All these forward folding positions are really calming. So just breathing in gently through the nose, exhaling through the nose, and just relaxing down. Try not to hunch the spine too much, bring a length into the spine. Always think nose towards toes. And let's gently walk the hands back up and switch on to the other side. So other leg comes out in front, bend the left knee, sitting up nice and straight to start. And then we're just going to fold ourselves over that front leg. And just taking time here just to relax into the legs. Make sure you haven't locked out the knee of the right leg. And we're just coming into that forward fold, feeling a length through the spine as we fold down. Maybe eyes stay closed. Relaxing through the straight leg. Breath gently flowing in and out through the nose. And then let's walk the hands back up. And we're going to come into all fours position now. Just going to do some cat-cow to release the spine. So as always, if you want to stay seated rather than being on all fours and just moving your spine in the same way, then you're welcome to stay seated. If you're comfortable coming over onto all fours, make sure that your knees are underneath your hips, hands are underneath shoulders. Spread the fingers out, trying to push more into the knuckles of the hands to take the pressure off the wrists a little bit. Actively pushing the floor away, and as we breathe in, crown of head and tailbone come up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, round and dome the spine, and then just keep moving between those two positions with the breath. So as we inhale, we extend. And as we exhale, we round, dome, pushing the back up towards the ceiling. And let's do that a couple more times. This is lovely flexion and extension of the spine. Release any niggles in the back. And then let's come back to neutral, so a flat backed position. I'm just going to come into some gentle circles here. So bringing one hip down towards the same heel, other hip to other heel, and then keep the movement going. And the circles can be as big or as small as feels good. Let's move into the other direction now. So bringing some circles into the hips, releasing through that back. Lovely. And then let's come back to a neutral position. I'm going to step the hands slightly further forwards, tuck the toes. I'm going to bring the bottom up towards the ceiling, bend through the knees, and then aim to push your head through in between your arms. And if you quite like downward dog and you want to stay here and pedal the feet, then you're welcome. Our next position is going to be standing up. So if you want to stand yourselves up so that you're ready, because this is not your favorite place to be, then you're welcome to stand yourself up. If you're still in downward facing dog, let's just walk the hands back towards the feet. And we're going to roll up through the spine and meet in our mountain position, which is standing. I'm going to come into the middle of my mat so you can see me. Let's bring our feet about hip width apart, and we're going to sweep the arms up above our head, and we're going to come into, I've done this before, but I didn't know its name. It's called palm tree pose, which I just love. So we're going to have our hands above our head. I know you can't see my hands, but we're just going to move from side to side. Just going to sway from side to side. If that feels too tricky in the back, then you can bring your hand down to your hip, just for a little bit more support as you move from side to side. We're just going to keep that movement going. Hands can come to hip, or hands can stay up above your head. I'm just going to enjoy that swaying motion in our palm tree pose. And let's make this our last one. And let's come to a more static still position. And we're going to come into our tree pose. So grounding your right foot into the mat, going to lift your left foot up, and maybe you just start with your heel being on top of your foot, or maybe you can pop the side of your foot into the calf muscle. Wherever it is, make sure that it's not on the knee joint. So make sure you're on kind of a solid bit of the leg. We aim for hips to be facing forward and shoulders to be facing forwards. And we're just catching our balance in this pose. Your hands can be wherever you'd like. Traditionally, they're up above, like this, but that does challenge your balance. So maybe you want to have hands at heart center. Maybe you want to lift that left foot up to the inner thigh. I'm just going to stay in our tree balance for a few moments, grounding that foot, that standing foot, spreading the toes, breathing gently, being near a wall if we need to, and then let's release. And do a little wriggle and a shake if you need to before we go into the other side. So let's ground through the left foot, and maybe heel just comes to the top of the foot. Sometimes it's just one foot on top of the other actually feels like enough of a balance, because you're still on one leg. You don't have to do something peculiar and fancy with the other foot or leg. If you're on one, you're just balancing on one foot, then sometimes that is enough. Always hold on to a wall. I should have said that first, Katie. Make sure that you're kind of near something. Bring your right foot maybe up to the calf. Maybe hands are in prayer position. Maybe hands are above. Maybe right foot comes up to the inside of the thigh. Make sure it's not on the knee joint. And choose where you want your hands to be as we just ground, balance. Just feeling that strength through the standing leg. And take one more moment. And then let's release, and maybe circling into those ankles. And then let's move ourselves into a wide-legged position. Our toes are going to point out towards the sides. And we're going to bend our knees, maybe hands stay on the thighs. So I don't think that we've done this pose before. It's called goddess pose. So we aim for our back to stay straight. We aim for our hips to sink down towards the floor. You can come into full goddess, which in which our hands, our arms would be up here. However, you might want to keep your hands on your thighs. And even if you want to bring some movement into the pose and maybe just moving from side to side, just feeling that strength through the legs. Maybe you want to be more static. Maybe you want your arms to come up. So wherever you are, we're going to spend one more moment here before we bring those legs straight, arms down. Turn your toes so that all 10 toes are facing forwards. Bring a bend to the knees and landing, hands down on the floor. And to your measure, bringing maybe head towards the floor. Katie, I don't know how you're feeling with this one. So your hands, your arms might want to stay straight if you're joining us in this pose. Maybe hands come onto ankles. Maybe you hold opposite elbow with opposite hand. And we're just going to relax down for another moment in our wide-legged forward fold. And then bringing hands to the floor, bring your left hand underneath your face, and we're going to sweep the right arm up towards the ceiling. So we're in a nice gentle twist. And then let's reverse. So right hand comes under the face and left hand floats up towards the ceiling. And then both hands on the floor. We're going to come to a seated position now. So however is comfortable for you. If you want to join me coming into your yogic squat first, then you can. Be mindful of balance here. So feet are about 45 degrees out. Hips are down towards the floor. You can put your elbows inside your knees and just encourage opening in the hips. And then safely bringing hands down to the floor and then bringing knees down to the floor. Let's meet in a seated position. What I'm doing. Right, yes, I can think what I'm doing. Sorry, I've completely lost my place for a moment there. Right, let's bring, this is super similar to what we did at the beginning, but this time our leg is slightly out to an angle here. So we're going to bend the right knee. Our left leg comes out to the side, just to your measure. I'm going to place the left hand down on the mat, probably behind that leg, and sweep the right arm up. We're going to come into a side bend. Now, this left hand can stay grounded behind. You might be able to bring it in front. You might be able to bring it down towards your foot. So wherever feels comfortable. If it's on the floor, it gives a bit more support. Aiming to roll that top shoulder back. Feeling that lovely opening through the right side of the body. And let's push into the floor to float ourselves back up. And then we're going to pop our left hand onto the right knee and just bring ourselves into a gentle twist. So we're twisting towards the bent leg, looking over the right shoulder. And then let's unwind and switch to the other side. So we bend the left knee, our right leg comes out to our measure, out towards the side. Going to land the right hand probably behind the leg on the floor, float the left arm up, coming into that side bend, and then just rolling that top shoulder back and just considering where you want your right hand to be. So maybe it stays behind the leg, that possibly feels most comfy. Maybe it comes in front. Maybe it comes down towards the foot. On the floor does give a bit more support. We're here for another moment. Feeling that lovely opening through the side body. And then let's float up. We are going to pop the left hand behind, right hand onto opposite knee, and we're just going to do a gentle twist, twisting towards that bent leg. Taking the gaze over the right shoulder, over the left shoulder. If that feels comfortable in the neck, one more moment. And then let's unravel and unwind. And let's bring the right leg in to meet the left. And we'll bring the soles of our feet together. If you want it a little bit easier, bring the feet further away from the body. A little bit more challenging is feet a bit closer to the body. And if it feels horribly uncomfortable, you can always prop the hips up and sit on a cushion or a pillow or some yoga blocks. And we're just going to spend some time here in butterfly, just allowing the hips to open. So it might be that you want the hands to come behind. Maybe that feels comfortable. Maybe hands on ankles or hands somewhere on the legs. There's no right or wrong here. It's just what feels right for you. Maybe you've got quite flexible hips and they feel quite open and you want to come into that forward fold. Just Katie, be careful with overstretching. Don't overstretch. It's probably a good message for everybody really, and just allowing those hips to open and maybe even taking a little sway from side to side, opening up those hips. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands back in. And we did this the other week. We're going to come into a wide-legged stance. So just bringing your legs out to your measure. Don't have to be horribly wide. And maybe the best thing for you today is just to practice sitting. And this might feel really opening in the hips, just sitting in this position. Or you might want to bring your hands in front. With a nice straight back, you might want to walk your hands forwards. But wherever you're choosing to be, make sure that you're keeping your spine as straight as possible. So not hunching over like this, because that's not really doing anything except for potentially hurting your back. So stay nice and straight, and with a flat back, walk forwards with a flat back if you're walking forward. So trying always to keep a length through the spine if you're coming forwards. And this is our pancake pose. So maybe bringing a sway into the body, or maybe you want to just be still. And you can even bring a close to the eyes. And as you're here, you're attempting as much as you can to relax the muscles. So on each exhale, just check in, are your knees relaxed? Can you relax any more muscles in your legs? And as you exhale, can you come down any further? Just bringing chest down towards the floor, tummy down towards the mat. And just gently breathing in and out through the nose. Just feeling that opening through the hips. And then when you're ready, let's gently walk the hands back up, and definitely use your hands just to bring a bend into the knees and bringing the knees back in. Let's bend the knees up and lean back on the hands and just take that windscreen wiper. That's what we did earlier. I think we start all of our classes with this, but we're normally lying down. Let's just bring some movement back into the hips. Windscreen wiping the legs. Perfect. And then let's bring ourselves back round, and we're going to come down to a lying position, tucking the knees in towards the chest. Gentle rock from side to side. And then with our knees, ankles and feet stuck together, we're going to come into a twist. We're not going to stay here very long, but while we are here, put the left hand on top of the right knee, and we're aiming for our right shoulder to stay down on the mat. Maybe the gaze comes towards the right hand if that feels comfy in the neck. Take one more moment here. And let's lift the legs back up. And a little rock and a reset if needed. So rocking from side to side. And then knees, ankles and feet together. And allow the knees just to fall over to the other side. And maybe taking the opposite arm out to shoulder height. Knees one way, gaze the other. Going into that lovely spinal twist. Bringing the knees back up. And another little rock, if that feels good. And then this time we're going to bring the knees in towards the armpits. Change the grip on the knees by bringing the hands behind. Bring your feet up towards the ceiling. And you might want to stay here. You're going to feel a nice length through the back of the neck. You can bring your hands up to the calves or up to the ankles. Maybe the first 2 fingers can hook around the toes. If your neck starts to crumple and your gaze starts to go behind, then come back to a place a bit lower down your legs so that you can keep that length in your neck. Maybe you want to take hold of the outside of the feet, and maybe you want to be still, or there is an option just to rock gently from side to side, just feeling that lower back massaging into the mat. Lovely. This was a really good one. If you've been just, well, I was going to say sitting all day, but I think if you've been running around all day, standing all day, doing lots of gardening in your day, Happy Baby is a really good one. Just to stretch out that lower back. Lovely. Let's release those feet. Let's bring the feet back down to the mat. And we're going to extend the legs out if that feels comfy. We're going to take some time now just to relax down. So if you need to get on a jumper or some socks, or if you'd rather finish the class seated, if that feels more comfortable for you today, then you're very welcome to find a different shape that feels more comfortable for your body today. And then wherever you have chosen to be, let's bring a close to the eyes. And let's feel the body land back into the mat, knowing that all the work is done. And just bringing your focus inwards. And as you lie here, on your next exhale, just take your mind to your feet. Maybe giving your toes a bit of a wriggle or your ankles a bit of a circle. And then as you exhale, just relaxing into your feet, into your ankles. Your legs feel nice and loose. Naturally turning out slightly to the side. Releasing any tension from the hips on the next out breath. Feeling the spine and the natural curves in the spine as it rests into the mat. And on the next exhale, releasing any tension from the shoulders, from the chest. Feeling the weight of the arms in the mat. Being aware of the natural curl of the fingers. Feeling the length through the back of the neck, the softness of the throat. And then softening the features of the face. The forehead feels smooth. Wiggling the jaw from side to side. And on the next inhale, completely releasing any tension from the face. And then taking your focus to your tummy. And feeling it gently rise and fall with each breath. And on each exhale, just feel the body deepen further into the mat. Being aware of the weight and the shape. Now for these last few moments, bringing your focus to the space between the eyebrows. And on each out breath, breathe into this space. We'll spend our next few moments in silence. And then on the next inhale, breathe in nice and deeply. So breathe into the tummy, fill up the tummy, keep going, feel the ribs expand. Keep going and breathe into the chest, hold. And then on the out breath, just breathe out through the mouth this time. And release any last bits of tension. And then let's go again. So breathing in through the nose, into the tummy, expanding the ribs, right up into the chest. And then release through the mouth. And then bringing some gentle movement back in. So wriggling the fingers, wriggling the toes. And as we inhale, let's bring the hands up over the head into a full body stretch. Stretching as far as we can, toes and fingers. And then bringing the arms back overhead, bending the knees, knees into chest, rocking gently from side to side. And then when you're ready, let's roll over onto one side. And maybe you want to stay lying on one side just for a moment. And there is no hurry, but whenever you are ready, bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And maybe keeping it close to the eyes. And just still gently breathing in and out through the nose. And then on the next inhale, let's sweep the arms up, out to the side, palms meet. And bring the hands down. Let's do that again. Sweep the arms out to the side. Palms meet. And bring down to heart center. We're going to do that one last time. So sweeping out to the side. Palms meet. Heart center. Namaste. Thank you for joining. I feel like I've finished a little bit earlier tonight, which is unusual for me. Normally I'm a bit late.
Hey,
Let's stop this recording.